Welcome to Foxhole Symphony, a podcast about the transformational value of men in authentic community.
In our Foxhole, men are equipped to build relationships that foster belonging, accountability, and growth.
Stop believing the lie that you can thrive in isolation and instead
join us on the journey from broken to whole.
Hello, everyone. They call me the Maestro, and we are back in the Foxhole where we actively pursue belonging, accountability, and growth through authentic relationships. No masks, no agendas, just iron sharpening iron. Today, Steve and Mark are talking about how a brother in Christ was able to turn F-bombs into J-bombs. I don't know exactly what that means either. I'm just reading from the card, folks. But something tells me we're about to find out right about now.
Welcome back to Foxhole Symphony Podcast. I'm Sarge here with my good friend Mark.
Hey, brother, Florida Gators.
Gators, baby.
Look at you.
Yes.
What do you call it? Gator Nation?
Gator Nation. Go Gators. We're just learning this, right? We're just learning this.
Cool.
Fresh off a trip from Florida and with my son Nick and getting him set up. And we'll be back soon to get him dropped off, which is, so yeah, our family's going through massive transitions here.
That's awesome. I saw him yesterday, as you know.
Yes.
On the pickleball court. Of course, where you always see your best friend's son.
Yep. Well,
What a
today,
great
you know, we're doing something a little bit different, right? And we had a lengthy conversation with a brother we met a few months back at a Marked Men for Christ weekend,
Yes.
Gabriel Pope. And Gabriel really just left a huge impression on us and the other guys. We were staffing a weekend in Pennsylvania, and Gabriel was staffing as well. He drove up from Virginia, which is his home now, originally
9
from
hours.
a small town in Tennessee.
Right.
And we were just blown away by this man. And so we had a conversation with him. And we're going to kind of spend just a little bit of time recapping that conversation because
I think it's going to be great.
yeah, and there's some nuggets there. And so, you know, just a little bit about Gabriel Pope. Again, originally from Tennessee, now lives in Virginia. He is a Marine, served 2 tours, one in Iraq and one in Afghanistan.
Right.
And boy, oh boy, the life transformation that this man has experienced in the last, handful of years.
Since the fall of 21 in particular.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So just a couple of years.
Yeah, not even 2 years.
Not even 2 years. Unbelievable. And, Gabriel is a man who, first of all, he's enormous.
A mountain.
He is a mountain of a man. I mean, you're tall. How tall are you?
6'1".
Okay. I thought I would have said 6'3" because I'm like, 4 foot nothing. But he is huge. I mean, he's just a massive man. And when he walks in the room, like everybody notices, but it's not just his size, it's the size of his smile.
Correct.
And part of Gabriel's mission involves boundless joy. He talks about
First words out of his mouth.
Yeah. And so he talks about just, leaving joy bombs, right? Everywhere he goes, just bringing boundless joy into every interaction, every engagement.
And by the way, that's what he'll tell you, that he changed his life from F-bombs to J-bombs.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, because, he
Joy bombs.
Yeah, he unashamedly will tell you how hateful of a man he was for so much of his life, and in many respects, I mean, he's got ink all over, but what's unique
All over. Yeah.
and what's unique about some of the ink is that, and there are still some very hateful brands and tattoos that he's left on, but some of them he's lasered off because they're that hateful.
Yeah.
And, he told us a little bit about that, and he's experienced some dark things, whether that be at war, or just otherwise in his own personal life.
Yeah. He has an overflowing well of anger.
Yeah.
From his youth.
Yeah.
My recollection is that he was in the Marines within 2 months of graduating high school.
Right.
One of those.
That's right.
You need that discipline in the Marines.
Yep.
And I don't know his backstory from grammar to high school, but let's just say, based on everything else he's told us, these are his words, right?
Yep.
That it was messy.
Yeah.
Right. So he's a Marine, and he's a machine gun platoon leader.
Yeah.
A killer.
Yep.
What did he say? Eat, crap, kill.
Yes.
Basically.
That's
That's it. That was his mantra.
That was his life.
6 years.
Yeah.
6 years in the Marines. So that's from what, high school? 18.
Yeah.
18 to 24.
Yeah.
And he's 36 years old now.
That's right. Yeah. So, he told us a little bit about his time in the Marines, and, I think part of the, who he was, he just transferred right to his time in the Marines.
Right.
Right. And that anger, I think, served him well. Right.
Great place to direct your anger.
Yes. And he talked to us a little bit about the loyalty, of being a Marine, and, what comes with that. And he said, a loyal Marine just follows orders.
Period.
That's it.
It was very clear.
Follow orders.
Even if they don't take you down a path that he knows in retrospect, like, by the way, I want to make it clear. He didn't say he regretted anything about his tours and his time in the Marines.
Mm-mm.
He regrets some of the things that happened and some of the things he allowed to happen, but he's a loyal and proud Marine.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, we honor his service to our country for sure.
100%.
But it's a foundational cornerstone of the story we're going to tell everybody about what this man has done to change his life and what God has done with him to change his life, because he has had some trials and tragedies and trauma in his life. Is significant stuff has happened to Gabriel.
Yeah.
By the way, and I'm forcing myself not to say Gabe.
Yeah.
Remember he told us?
Yes.
I'm reclaiming my name.
Yes.
Gabriel, like the angel.
Yes.
He told a great story.
So beautiful.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So absolutely, trials, trauma, a lot of tragedy, and I think he coming out of the Marines, I think he struggled. He struggled big time.
And he said his transition was wicked.
Very hard, right?
Because the anger was winning.
Yes.
That the emptying the cup.
Yeah.
Let me back up half a second. I remember wanting to even talk to him more about this, but we talked for a moment about foxholes and how, relatively speaking, here we are in Foxhole Symphony. He's a Marine. He's literally been in foxholes.
Yeah.
And we asked each other, where is God in this? As a loyal Marine, manning your foxhole and preparing for battle.
Yeah.
And boy, oh boy, did we have a good time talking about the battle we're all in today as men.
Yeah.
In authentic community, who's in your foxhole, who's got your back, etc. I mean, it was never more appropriate and applicable than to sit talking to a Marine.
It's true. And because they get it. They get it probably more than anybody. Right. And we've had others in the podcast, on the podcast as guests that speak to this as well. And they get it far more than you and I do.
Absolutely.
Right. And he lives it. He lives it. And, modern day. And we challenged him, like, who's in your foxhole now? And he says, he's like, well, this is why I'm traveling the country to go on Mark Men for Christ weekends. Because that's my foxhole, and they're all over the place. They're not right here in my little one-horse town.
Great answer.
Yeah, and you know what? For a moment, I was like, nah, come on. What do you mean? Like, they're there. You just got to find them. But maybe they're not, and they are. He's got a couple of guys.
Right. It's an and equation.
It's
is
not
or.
It is. But just last week, he texts me weekly. How's your heart, brother? How can I pray for you? Like, I don't know when I'll see Gabriel again. If I'll see Gabriel again, I hope so, at a future Mark Men weekend or what have you. But we are in the same foxhole, and I know he's got my back, and he's got my back in prayer. And he is that loyalty that, is so evident in the life of a Marine comes through in his life as a follower of Jesus.
It's burnt in.
It is.
It has become part of him.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that this morning before we started recording about the discipline of our health regimen, working out.
Yeah.
Right? Getting your butt out over to the gym, through the doors, and start doing your job. And that discipline needs to become part of your life.
Yeah.
Right? In order to live a healthy life with that part, the physical part of your life, on top of all the others.
And he's a prayer warrior. I mean, he really has become a prayer warrior. And I think, when I think about the Foxhole and him in it, and prayer is such a big part of that. And that's what we experienced on that weekend with him. And, there were times where I was serving side by side and I was just ready to jump in and get to work. And he actually grabbed me a few times. And he's like, "Hey, brother, what do you think? Let's pray." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course. Of course."
I love
gosh.
that.
Yes. So, yes.
Gotta
let's
go.
Pray. I know. Like, duh.
Check.
No, that's who he is.
Yes. And so there's listening to him pray, even with us when we had a chance to talk to him together, but also on the weekend and just a few minutes. I may have spent a total of 2 hours with Gabriel Pope in my life.
Yeah.
2. But he made an impact. And I think that's really important to understand, is that God puts people like this in our lives. And you and I talked about this conversation we're having now and how important this could be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's important to hear the person talk, and other times it's important for the ripple effect to be talked about. That's what he's rippled to me.
Yes.
And anyone who's listened twice knows how we feel about that.
Yeah.
Gabriel is that boulder in the bathtub, man.
That's for sure.
Right?
One mountain of a boulder.
Yeah. So let me go back to the story. I'm thinking through what he talked to us about. Gabriel said that, including the end of his last tour before he got out and his search for effective jobs, so he could live a life down there, he literally spent 8 years in the dark.
Yeah, he caved up big time.
8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
At that time, that was a third of his life.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he listen, that season of his life, I mean, I think he was twisted up, right? Trying to make sense of his life after war, as many of our vets do. Trying to figure out, what it looks like, not just his life, but how to engage, how to interact with, with others who were not there. And we hear so much of that. And it's again, another reason why we want to tell this story.
You're way too young to know this, but Father Knows Best is an old TV show from the 50s and 60s. And he told us he was playing Gabriel Knows Best.
Yeah.
He came out of the Marines and he couldn't abide any leadership or anybody telling him what to do at any job.
No.
How many jobs did he say he had?
I don't, it was a
bizarre
ton.
number.
Yeah. Yeah.
50s.
Yeah. 50 or 60. Yeah.
Crazy number of jobs, because he would be told to do something and the anger would well up and he goes, "I'll show you."
Right.
Got fired the next day. Got fired the next day. Got fired the next day. This was an angry dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Not much humility or surrender or gentleness. That's for sure.
But it was in there.
It was. There was a seed.
Yeah.
There was a seed.
And so I think, for me, the message is sometimes I can get settled in who I am. I said this to you the other day about being comfortable in my own skin,
mm-hmm.
and it's a quest, because most days I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly why that is. It's a whole different episode,
mm-hmm.
but Gabriel, there was a seed there that God had a plan for, and I listen and watch, and it makes me think when I hear Gabriel talk. And I think about what we're talking about now, I think God can change anything.
Yeah.
God can make chicken salad out of chicken poop. No problem.
Yeah.
I just have to give him a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a huge part of Gabriel's story, is that he gave God a chance. At some point, enough things came together. And if I recall correctly, his sister ultimately said to him, "Dude, I live in Virginia, got a good job.
Yes.
There's this here, there's that
Come on
here.
out.
Yeah. Just pick it up."
Yeah, and that was a huge mile marker, right, for his life.
One truckload is what remember he said?
Yep.
I packed everything I had into the back seat of my pickup truck and I left Tennessee for Virginia.
Yes.
That was brave.
It was.
I mean, he may have done it out of desperation, but it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
God doesn't care.
No. Yeah, and that physical move was again a significant part of his life that led to really God, a number of God encounters, right? But it started with that decision to go.
Pack up and go.
And, again, there was just nothing for him there where he was. And here was a new, fresh start.
Yeah, this really resonates with me. And you know this backstory. I don't want to get into the details, but I'm a huge proponent of the saying about, you can't just run away from your troubles. Yeah. They follow you wherever you go.
Yes.
Whether it's to sleep or to Virginia.
Yeah.
And that really touches me in my heart and my family. I have a son who moved recently to Virginia, and part of his move absolutely was to get away from the problems here in our home.
Yeah.
And in his life.
Well, yes. Thanks for sharing that. It's interesting because there's a positive side and a negative side potentially, right? Yeah. To those physical moves, in the recovery rooms, XYZ Anonymous, right? They say people, places, and things, right? Get, new people, new places, new things. And, sometimes it's necessary to get that new start, that new place. Yep. And yet, if we're not quite ready or we don't embrace that opportunity and that fresh start, our problems will follow us. And, for Gabriel, I mean, he was an addict. Let me just say, he was an anger addict. I think you were talking about, right? He was an anger addict. That was his MO.
Yep. And by the way, the story of my son is one that absolutely has reformation, reclamation, and joy in it. I mean, I had a conversation with him yesterday. I sound like a different person on the phone.
Yeah.
So I was saying the sin is mine. I'm the one going, you can't run away from your problems.
Yeah.
Where the hell are you going? You're not ready. You don't have a security deposit for your, all the things you hear a father saying, like a jackwagon, just not making a lot of sense, but wanting good.
Of course.
But saying, I'm not going to be able to help you if you're 5 hours away. If you need rescued, who's going to save you?
Yeah.
And the answer isn't Mark.
No.
We know who it is.
That's right.
My son needs God just like Gabriel did. To bring it back to Gabriel, the physical move, I don't know if Gabriel was running away from his problems, but he certainly was moving away from them.
Absolutely.
And it turned his life around. It was one of the 2 or 3 key catalysts.
Yeah.
Horses were another one.
Well, that's just it. So he gets out there and God uses a horse to speak to Gabriel, just like Mr. Ed.
Well, think about this, though. He finally was talking to someone his own size.
That's exactly.
He has a heart, The horse has a heart.
I think Gabriel was actually looking down at the horse.
No offense, Gabriel. I'm saying that in a loving way.
No pony. These were thoroughbreds, I think.
Right.
Oh,
he goes to an equine. It turns out he had I may have written it down, but I don't remember. But it was an equine therapy center.
Yeah.
They used horse therapy with kids.
Yeah.
That were from battered homes or troubled homes.
Right. And it's not like he was there to participate necessarily in the therapy. I mean, they needed somebody. He got a job just caring for the land. He was a farmhand, basically. Right. And over time, he's in the barn or he's, doing whatever, cleaning
stalls.
Up. And God starts bringing these, young people and little people in front of him. And giving him fresh perspective, right? As he encounters, various people, young people, little people, dealing with their own trauma. And all of a sudden, God starts using them to minister to Gabriel.
Right. But his willingness of spirit, I remember his sister said, go volunteer over at the horse farm. You you can't find a job. Remember?
Yes.
And he was just like, just go one. And we said 1 day turned into 2 days.
Yeah.
I just I'm hearing him say that again. It feels good in my chest. It's so cool. Right. To your point.
Yeah.
That all of a sudden horses and kids.
Yeah.
God used horses and troubled kids and softened his heart, softened that hard. Read today. Ezekiel 36, even our brother Ronnie pointed it out.
36:26.
Take the stony heart from me.
Yeah.
And give me a heart of tenderness and
yes. And we've talked about the power of just serving, just getting out there and serving. And that's what he did. He was like, I'm just going to go volunteer. And again, that turned into a job and it turned into a job that God was doing on Gabriel's heart and, giving him a heart of gratitude for what he did have, rather than focusing on what he didn't have.
Did you say Mr. Ed? Mm-hmm. Remember, a horse is a horse. Yeah, exactly. I know all the words to that song. How scary is that?
That is scary. So somehow during that time, Gabriel learns about Mark Men for Christ. And I don't remember exactly how. I don't know if you can connect that dot, but I think he, somehow heard about it.
All I remember is he proposed to his sweetheart to get married and then delayed his wedding for the P1.
Yes.
That's what I remember.
Yeah, they had a wedding. They had a wedding date, and it happened to be, and it was the next P1 weekend, and I don't think it was in that area.
No.
I forget, was it Chicago?
It was far.
Midwest. Anyway. And yeah, he talked to his fiance. He was like, I think I have to go to this. Right? She's like, yeah, but that's our wedding date. He's like, yeah, I know.
Can you imagine?
And she's like, agreed. So like, you could just feel the weight of this, of what was going on. This was an enormous, just a massive shift. And God clearly calling not just him, but his fiance, because, they were unified in the decision.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, you're going. Right? Change the wedding date. Let's put that off. You go here. And it was a game changer. This was in fall of 2021, as you said, and it changed everything for Gabriel.
How beautiful. I mean, come on. You can't make this up. It's a Hollywood story. Yeah. Really. It's beautiful.
Yes.
That God...
I wish I had been there. Here comes this mountain of a man coming in, angry as all get out still. Right? Experienced a little bit of gratitude and some perspective on this farm, but he's just battling, just trying to, in all his own strength, which there's a lot of it, trying to wrestle his anger to the ground. And he goes on this weekend and experiences utter transformation and an opportunity once and for all to leave every ounce of anger that's been built up on this, this camp, at this camp.
Saturday must have been a heck of a morning for him.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Can you even imagine? The ground probably shook.
I would have loved to have been there.
Yeah.
Talk about a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So
this is a transformation, right? So we would have had an opportunity to witness the transformation in person, but we've seen this man who's told his story come into the lives of so many, he's traveling around to P1s.
Yeah.
Right? To serve.
Yep.
And telling a story of his transformation from a hard heart of anger to a softer heart of joy. And we're here to say, hallelujah.
Yeah.
It's possible.
And there's a YouTube video that's just a couple of minutes about his weekend experience that I'd like to throw that link up with this episode.
And you have to put a picture of him, by the way. People need to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we'll do that, and so that people can just hear a little bit about that and see and experience some of his boundless joy.
Well, let's wrap up the episode about Gabriel and the joy. I'm going to give you my perspective, what I heard when I listened to the episode after we recorded it. I heard a man on fire living out the simple, not easy episode and conversation you and I had.
Yeah.
Someone who's so clear. His clarity of purpose was laser focused on what his role was and his mission was.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure if we continued to talk to Gabriel, he'd have hard days. He'd have moments of anger. Right? But Gabriel now knows there's a place to turn.
Yeah. He's
got a foxhole.
Yeah.
He's found marked men and horses and so on. And this is our God. This is what I heard Gabriel telling me is that we have a God who provides. He's enough and gives us not only friends, but animals, creation, meetings, so many different ways. For me, it's slow down, listen, breathe. And Gabriel's story is like many stories that I've heard, but this one just, hit me like a wave. Yeah. And I'm so grateful for those few minutes to talk to him.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. He, at the end of our conversation, when we said, what would you want people to know? Right. And it was the 3 words. And he said, God is everything. God is everything. And it's just so evident in his life that he is just sold out, not for Gabriel, not for anyone else. It's just all about Jesus. His whole life, he's just sold out for Jesus and wants everybody to know, and is that vessel, and wants everybody through his boundless joy and God's boundless joy in Gabriel, wants people to know that God will take it, whatever it is, and because his anger bombs that he referred to, not just the F-bombs, but the anger bombs and what that looked like. For years he thought there's no way, right? There's no way there's a God that wants this. Yes. And what he discovered is, no, that's exactly what he wants. God doesn't want that for us. He'll take it. He'll take it all. He already has. It's finished. And, man, I'm smiling just because I'm thinking of his smile and his joy and his excitement for the Lord.
I think we're simple men at our core, and the simplicity of his message, God is everything.
Yeah.
I think you need to let it hang there, listeners, really.
Yeah.
God is everything.
Yeah.
Don't let it get lost on you. I know it sounds overly simple.
He is everything, and he's God of everything. All of it.
Yeah.
Right?
That was a great conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Yeah, we love you, brother. And thank you for listening to, a different kind of episode where we just wanted to share with you a little bit about this dear brother, and continue to pray for Gabriel and his ministry and his family. And thank you for listening.
Yeah, man. Great to see you again.
You too, brother.
We'll talk again.
Take care.
Peace.
I first want to say thank you to Gabriel and all the men and women who are listening, who serve and have served in our military. My family and I thank you, and we appreciate you. I think the biggest takeaway from this episode is to remember the power of the God that we serve. To remember that the biggest, baddest, sinner, hate-filled, anger-filled, you add the description that best describes you, and there are none that are bigger than the God that we serve. Get connected. Find your foxhole. Lean into God and find hope, find healing, find grace that delivers us from our sin. Lord, please continue to use this podcast to impact the lives of all who listen. I ask that you would bring hope and healing to each and every one of them, Lord. Meet them right where they are and reveal yourself to them like only you can do. In Jesus' name. Amen.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please share it and invite others to the Foxhole. You can find us wherever you download your favorite podcast. Be sure to subscribe so you know when new episodes drop, and please rate us and comment there too, as it'll help us get found by others who could benefit. Find, follow, and like us on your go-to social media networks by searching Foxhole Symphony, or visit foxholesymphony.com to make it super easy to find us. Drop us a line with feedback, questions, topic requests, who knows? Maybe you'll be a guest on a future episode. In the meantime, prepare to move, embrace discomfort, and just be you.